Tears will dry, your heart will mend, your scars will heal, and you will dance again.
My story actually began in February 2002 when I was rushed into hospital with internal bleeding in my kidney and had to have major surgery. There were big complications after that surgery and things got really scary because I ended up developing a severe form of a condition called ME. Now, I had no idea at the time what that was going to mean, but within a matter of months, my husband Steve and I went from being a normal couple to me having to be spoon-fed. Worse than that, the condition left me bedbound for 9 years. My life just changed beyond recognition. My whole world became the four walls of a darkened room because I couldn't even have the curtains open due to severe light sensitivity. I just felt like I was losing everything. I lost my job, we lost our car, and we very, very nearly lost our house. I was in constant pain. My face even swelled up and boiled like sores, and I got to the point where I couldn't even look in the mirror without crying because I didn't recognise my own face. After 4 years in that condition, the doctors told me that I was now too severely affected to ever recover, and this is what my life would look like from now on. Well, I just felt at that point like I had hit absolute rock bottom. I didn't know where to turn, so I turned to the faith that I'd had since I was 15 years old, and I just cried out to God and begged him to help me. If you could have seen me back then, I could not have looked more of a hopeless case. Yet there was something inside of me that just could not give up hope, that one day I would be well again. And I held a dream in my heart, the dream that one day my husband Steve and I would dance together again. Well, the answers to my prayers certainly didn't come quickly, but when they did come, they were absolutely worth waiting for. Because in August 2011, against all the odds, I left the house for the first time in 9 years. I just cried tears of joy that day to feel sunlight on my face. I couldn't walk, so Steve had to carry me, but that didn't matter because that day the two of us went to church together, and that is where the miracles really began. Because 8 months later, I was prayed for in church and I got out of my wheelchair and I walked. I just couldn't believe what was happening. My legs did not have the strength to hold me up, and yet here I was walking. It was an absolute miracle. And you know, that was just the beginning, because from that point onwards, although I wasn't fully healed, I could use a walking frame. And I was still on that walking frame when our church announced they were going to hold a healing service. And so that night, as I just sang praise to God and thanked him with all my heart for all he'd already done in my life, I just felt this amazing energy begin to fill me. And without even thinking about what I was doing, I just took my walking frame, shoved it out of the way, and I began to dance. And then I just felt my husband Steve take my hands, and the two of us danced together. It was just everything I dreamt of. It was so full of life and joy and energy, and just everything being bedbound isn't. And so I thought, this must be it, I must be healed. But no, the moment I left the church, all of that energy drained out of me and I was back to using the walking frame again. But I did not give up, because I knew that with God there had to be more to come. And there was more to come, because in June 2013 I set off on my walking frame on the Dublin 10k mini marathon. It was the biggest step of faith I've ever taken, but that step of faith was rewarded, because halfway around that mini marathon I suddenly felt stronger than I had in years. I handed the walking frame to Steve, I finished the course without it, ran over the finish line, and I have never needed a walking frame since that day. But the most amazing thing of all was, that was the moment that God healed me of ME, and I have never had another ME symptom since. And you know, since then, God has been giving us back everything we lost, and so much more. So in 2014, I actually did the Great North Run, a 13.1 mile half marathon. Who would have believed it? And you know, there's even been a song written that was inspired by my story, a beautiful song called Dance Again. And now I go to churches all around the country sharing my story and just never fail to be amazed at how God uses that to bring hope and healing to people. And so wherever my story finds you today, I just want to say, please, please do not give up. Because no matter how tough life might seem right now, nobody is beyond hope and nothing is impossible with God.
Tears will dry, your heart will mend, scars will heal, and you will dance again.